Billionaires convince themselves AI chatbots are close to making new scientific discoveries. I'm doing the equivalent of vibe coding, except it's vibe physics. Generative artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok have exploded in popularity as AI becomes mainstream. These tools don't have the ability to make new discoveries on their own, but billionaires are convinced that AI is on the cusp of doing just that. And the latest episode of the All In podcast helps explain why these guys think AI is extremely close to revolutionizing scientific. I'll go down this thread with Chat Gupta or Grok, and I'll start to get to the edge of what's known in quantum physics. And then I'm doing the equivalent of vibe coding, except it's vibe physics, Kalanick explained. And we're approaching what's known, and I'm trying to poke and see if there's breakthroughs to be had, and I've gotten pretty damn close to some interesting breakthroughs just doing that. Have you gotten to any breakthroughs? No. The answer is no, you haven't gotten to any breakthroughs, okay? So then they talk about the Grok failure. There are words I cannot say, so I have to kind of skip it. I pinged Elon on it at some point. I'm just like, dude, if I'm doing this and I'm super amateur hour physics enthusiast, like what about all those PhD students and postdocs that are super legit using this tool? Apparently he was using pre-Grok 4 and he was getting these kinds of potential breakthroughs, not actual breakthroughs by his own admission, not actual breakthroughs, but very close to breakthroughs. Okay. And then the entire, his entire, say, interview here is that these things are going to get us to a point where we're going to start seeing scientific breakthroughs coming out of these AI chat. On the other hand, though, he then says this in the same interview. He says this, okay? Kalanick emphasized that you have to double and triple check to make sure that you really got something, making clear he understood that AI chatbots just make things up much of the time. But he still seemed convinced that the thing holding back Grok was conventional wisdom rather than the natural limitations of the tech. Yes, vibe physics is only held back by conventional wisdom. That's it. That's all. When these models are fully divorced from having to learn on the known world and instead can just learn synthetically, you can just give it a problem and it's just going to figure it out. Musk revealed a similar line of thinking recently when he suggested general artificial intelligence was close because he had asked Grok about materials science that are not in any books or on the internet. The idea, of course, is that Musk had hit the limits of known science rather than the limit of his scientific understanding. The billionaire really seems convinced that Grok was working on something new. And here it is. This is how I felt when asking Grok for, questions about materials science that are not in any books or on the internet. However, we can answer this simply by the nature of what LLMs are. If an LLM is a statistical word model, then it makes sense that it's going to occasionally statistically piece together things that are not in existence in any book or on the internet, because it takes bits and pieces of other things and then thesaurusizes them into what you would see as something novel and unique. And so you go, oh, Grok 4 is going to solve physics problems. No, it's not. You just don't have a fundamental understanding of how your own product works. That's all. And you really, really desperately want this thing to work the way it does. So that's basically the end of the article. Nothing else is really, of note to bring up here. But there you go. These people are somehow, on the one hand, aware of the limitations of the thing they're using. They understand that it hallucinates and makes stuff up. They even understand how it works. But then on the other hand, they're like, but it's going to solve physics problems. And boy, when I use it, I get this close. I'm like this close to solving a physics problem, bro. One more model, bro. One more prompt, bro. Conventional wisdom, bro. Yeah, bro. We're going to get there, bro. We're going to solve physics. We're going to solve programming. We're going to solve science. We're going to cure cancer. Don't worry, bro. One more data center, bro. One more nuclear power center, bro. Just a few more NVIDIA GPU cards, bro. Just a bit more percentage share of the entire US stock market, bro. Just a few more $1 trillion, bro. We're right there, bro. 4 years running. 4 years running.